Your haircut fucks, dude.
Wait, that's good, I thought.
But like in a bad way.
But like in a bad... Oh, no! I'm a teen wolf now!
Audibly?
I'm
like
a
popcorn.
teen wolf! Hi, my name's Jackson McMurray.
Michael J. Fox has never sounded like that. My name is Adeline McMurray.
And this is No Nerds Allowed.
And there are no nerds allowed. I don't know if that'll be salvageable.
I did just really shoot my voice for the next hour.
Yeah, no, I know. You messed up. You screwed the pooch, cause he a dog, and he gets, and they do the screwing in
he does get fucked.
Scene. He does.
Yeah.
Is everybody in this film a weird high school pervert? Is that just
I
what
would
the
argue that
80s
everybody
was
in
like?
every high school is a weird high school pervert.
That's fair. Everybody in this movie is a psycho, though. Like, right?
Okay, I guess if you say so.
Don't get me wrong. High school is weird, and, like, people go through weird phases. That's undeniable. I'm just saying the, like, bad jock guy is, like, an actual sociopath and, like, needs to seek help.
Right. I want to be better at fucking plugging our stuff in the podcast. Because, hey, we don't really ever do that. And we kind of don't grow because of it, I feel like. But
smash that like button. Is that what we
This is No Nerds Allowed. If you're watching the stream, thank you. If you're not, hey, we record this on stream. You can tune in every Friday night, watch us make the sausage live on camera. And
thanks to viewers like you.
Yeah, we're supported by viewers like you. Not monetarily, just in our hearts.
Literally. With your arms.
But, yeah, that's all. We have a YouTube channel. Listen to us on podcast platforms. Drop a like if you like it, I guess. And
smash the
write
subscribe
reviews.
Button.
Subscribe. Do all that stuff. I'm going to start doing this at the beginning of every episode, and I need you guys to remind me to do it. Does anybody actually
ever click the bell? Have you ever clicked the bell in your whole life?
Have I ever subscribed to somebody?
No, the bell is different, Jackson. It's different. Have you ever clicked the bell next to the subscribe button?
Oh, to like turn on notifications?
Yeah, no one ever does that. Why would I ever want?
I get a notification. I've done that for people.
No, I get a notification from YouTube when you do a thing already. Why do I also click the bell?
What? You get notifications every time somebody you are subscribed to
email,
post a video?
Dude. I don't know what's up with my fucking
what the
email.
Your settings are fucked up, I think.
I know. I must have some like really old weird settings because I swear to God, every time somebody posts a video,
you're like,
I get an email from YouTube.
you get a fax. It's like epic rap battles of history just uploaded a new video. You're like, oh,
like, oh, great.
They should do Jackson versus Adeline for their next one.
We did that in our youth group as children, so they don't.
Yeah, but we didn't write that though. We stole Red
No,
Wings.
we did not. Yeah.
Rap.
It also sucked really bad because I didn't know what we were doing, and I hate the fact that our parents posted that to Facebook.
You just didn't know the words, you freak. You were just bad.
No, because I specifically remember this, where we had 2 raps that we were gonna do, and I had like one memorized, like down pat, ready to go. And then the other one was like one we had thought of like later, and I was a little bit shaky on it. And I was like, okay, we could do that second one, but I need like the words to remember the words. But that first one, I got it memorized. And then literally right as we were about to get on stage, and I thought we were doing the one that I had memorized, you go, actually, Adeline, we're doing the one that you don't know that well and need the page to look at to know what certain lyrics are. And so you can see at the beginning of the video, you starting to rap, and me looking at you like, what the fuck, Jackson? What are we doing? And you've just started rapping already, so I can't clarify on what we're doing. It was the worst moment of my life.
So this is a series called Randy's Choice, where we pass the privilege of deciding the movie we discuss to fate. We put it in the hands of God, or as Randy. We like to call him, Randy.
Randy Jornsen.
Randy, short for random.
No, Randy Jornsen.
So
that's his name.
I mean, so far they've kind of all been like 80s movies.
Yeah, I think there were just a lot of movies from the 80s.
We did Scrooge. I guess Phenomenon was like 1998.
Yeah.
And now we're doing Teen Wolf. That was our latest rando selection. And I think, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's not our fault because it was random.
I mean,
I'm just having the thought like, we should try to shake it up more with these, but I'm like, oh wait, it's not fucking our decision. It's literally
random. So, yeah. It's Randy's choice.
So we're talking Teen Wolf today. We went from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure to the Teen Wolf.
And then we're going to go back to
similar movies in a lot of ways. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, yeah, they are teen 80s movies.
Right. Let's try for this podcast. Let's try to only cover movies. Everything? No, I think we should just only cover movies that have exactly one gay panic moment where the characters call each other the F slur. We should have one of those per movie per episode. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, that's fine. Only that's it. And then one time we'll like watch Queer Eye, and then that'll be that.
Yeah, we'll
I didn't
balance
like that
joke.
I am not comfortable with the energy that we created in this office today.
Because, I mean, like Bill and Ted, I feel like for the most part, this movie holds up fairly well. Except for the one part.
No, what about the whole weird Eyes Wide Shut party that they have?
What do you mean? What's not right about that?
When the girl in her underwear and the man both covered in whipped cream and handcuffed to each other. Yeah. And the game is like, and what about when he dumps the Jell-O down that girl's shirt? That's not weird.
She's consenting.
I guess that's fine.
They're just teens having fun, having flirty fun at a party.
Teen fun. You know that party in high school that like all of the parents know about and are like cool with? And it's like, are you guys going to the party? And they're like, yeah, we're just having an orgy. That's just what they're doing.
They're not having an orgy.
No, they're like alright, here's the grand prize. It's the like 7 minutes in heaven where they like lock you in a closet and they're like, don't disappoint us. It's like, oh, they're just supposed to have sex. That's it. That's
classic. That's classic though, Adeline. Don't pretend like that's not realistic. Teens have been doing that since the goddamn 40s.
What parties are you going to in high school? That's what I want to know.
I'm just saying it's a thing.
There's just 300 people in a house, so much so that half the people have to be, like, on the yard. The only thing that's, like, really nice about this movie is that, like, all of the kids, for the most part, like, get along really well. Like, everybody's, like, friends and everybody, like, knows each other, except for, like, the main antagonist.
Except for the
like
45-year-old
Except for the psychotic 45-year-old boyfriend who is just always on the verge of murdering someone and is always standing alone away from everyone else. Except for that guy, like, everybody is, like, really nice to each other and, like, they all, like, know each other and, like, check in on with each other. Like, that's really nice. But the reason they have that strong friendship is apparently from having these orgies all the time. So, you know, it's a give and a take. You build a lot of school
strong
spirit.
Bond of friendship.
Yeah. You know, it is worth it, I think.
I have a feeling this is probably a movie fewer people will have seen. Because, well, I mean, I don't know, who's to say? Because there is that long-running MTV... Yeah, that long-running MTV television drama called Teen Wolf. I don't know why this is the movie that got, like, a gritty modern reboot that lasted for, like, 8 seasons.
Okay, but what about Riverdale? Like, why?
Riverdale's not the same thing as Teen Wolf.
This is just Riverdale before Riverdale. That's all that the Teen Wolf show is.
I mean, yeah, sure. But my point is, it's like, it's a weird property to reboot. Like, I totally get the thought behind Riverdale. I just feel like there's not as much cultural capital behind Teen Wolf as there is behind, like, Archie comics. Was
Teen Wolf post Back to the Future or pre Back to the Future?
That is a good question.
I think Michael J. Fox looks much younger in this movie, but that might just be...
He does look younger.
Yeah, that might just be a coincidence.
Same year.
Same year? Oh, wow.
Yeah. Let me look, because Michael J. Fox kind of was not in a whole lot of stuff in his life.
No, but he also had a smaller window of time to be in stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he had, like, these 2 huge movies, and then I feel like the next most well-known thing of his is, like, Atlantis and Stuart Little.
Yeah.
And I guess Homeward Bound.
Yeah. Didn't he have, like, a sitcom that was just about him in, like, 2012?
Yeah, that was a little while ago. Because that's the thing about Michael J. Fox, is that he has Tourette's. And
which makes acting very hard.
Yeah, exactly. I think, okay, so here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think, just speaking of Michael J. Fox, my take is that if Matrix 4 does well next year, there is a 1,000,000% chance they're going to go and try to do a Back to the Future Part 4.
Oh, yeah.
I think that is
I think they'll do
an
it
absolute
regardless.
certainty.
Yeah.
Well, I think that Matrix 4 symbolizes continuing something that was very definitively ended.
Yeah.
And I think people don't want to ruin those a lot of the time.
Yeah,
but I think Matrix 4 is kicking open the door for that.
Yeah.
And look, I'm as excited for Matrix 4 as the next guy. But so if you were going to cast somebody to be
doing it? Are they twins or are they
just one of them?
Just one of them? Okay.
Yeah. I don't remember which is which because both their names start with L and I get them flip-flopped all the time.
Gotcha.
But one of them is working on a different project and the other is working on Matrix 4.
Gotcha. They are siblings,
who would you cast?
So they can talk about it.
Right. Who would you cast as the Wachowskis? That would be lovely.
Yeah. I would love that. Oh my
who would you cast as Marty McFly's offspring?
This is like honestly, Tom Holland. Like, I know that, like,
yeah, it would fucking have to be Tom Holland.
Yeah, like, I know we're all super
choice.
thirsty for Tom Holland to be in every single movie made in the foreseeable future, but, like, honestly, like, there is a resemblance. Like, if you had Tom
Holland does kind of look like Michael J. Fox.
He looks like Michael J. Fox. He does. Like, when he's got, like, the long, like, swoopy hair that he has sometimes, he, like, totally looks like Michael J. Fox.
As soon as that came out of my...
That's it, it's Tom Holland, like...
Right, yeah, as soon as that came out of my mouth, I was like, oh, actually, there's not really a discussion to be had. So...
Yeah, it's Tom Holland, there's no... it could be Timothy Chalamet. It couldn't be, I would hate that.
No, it couldn't be. Maybe, what if Tom Holland and Timothy Chalamet were brothers?
That'd be really good,
Twin brothers.
But step brothers.
And yeah, Kate says sisters for...
Yeah, no, I knew they were sisters. Women. Are they twins?
No.
I don't know why I thought they were twins.
I don't know if there's ever been a twin siblings director team before.
Well, because they have, you have, the Coen brothers as the Wachowski. Say it again. What is their last name?
Wachowski.
And then you have the Wachowski sisters, but for some reason in my head it was the Wachowski twins, and I don't know why it was.
The Wachowski twins?
Yeah, they're just twins in my head, I don't know. Wouldn't that be cool, though, if they were twins?
Yeah, I don't know. Are any of the big director sibling duos, groups twins? Twin directors. Jonathan and Josh Baker are twins. Who are they?
We could probably get them on the podcast scene as how I don't know who they are.
Well, a lot of movies get made by people who you don't know who they are.
That's fair. That's why we could get them on the podcast.
Remember Kin from a couple of years ago? That movie where James Franco played the Kin. K-I-N.
Yeah.
Where James Franco played the mean older brother and the younger brother found like an alien gun or something. And it was bad and nobody saw it.
I vaguely remember that, where some kid has a big future gun.
Dennis Quaid is in it.
Yeah.
So you know it's good.
So you know it's good.
Teen Wolf is a film about
a teen
puberty.
Wolf. It is about puberty.
And so, but anyway, what I was trying to say a million years ago was...
It's weirdly not about werewolves. Did you notice?
Right. Well, it's, so if we want to go through the plot of this movie a little bit more than we usually do, it's pretty loosey-goosey, to be frank.
Oh, yeah.
Like, literally, you open up the movie, and it's just like, here's Michael J. Fox. He's on a basketball team. He's turning into a werewolf slowly. There's not yet, at least not yet, but there's, like, no, like, instigating incident. There's no like moment where he gets bit by a werewolf or whatever. It's just like scene 1, he's playing
basketball.
Like, oh man.
Scene 1, he's playing basketball. He sucks at it. Remember that. Right. And also, he's either really weird or he's turning into a werewolf, but we don't really leave it to the imagination. He's either one of those kids that like growled at you during high school, or he's turning into a werewolf, and then immediately they're like, no, he's actually a werewolf, and you're like, oh, okay, I got it.
And so, I mean, the first few scenes are just like him going about his daily high school life. He's got a crush on a girl, but he's got a girl best friend who's really into him, and he doesn't want to get with her because he wants the super hot girl. And it's like sort of a fun little love triangle. And he works at the hardware store.
But like the hot girl's like a bitch, right? Like they never disguise it for a second that she's just like the worst.
But he's a teen boy.
But she's
it's like at the end of Wet Hot American Summer. It's like the end of Wet Hot American Summer, where the girl's like, you're really nice, but I'm 16 and Paul Rudd is fucking hot as shit. Like, it's like, I guess that's fine. I guess I can't blame you.
It's not even that, because this girl will, like, she won't, like, it's not even like, oh, I like both of you. She just, like, literally won't commit to her existing boyfriend. She fucking hates her existing boyfriend. Like, from the beginning of the movie, she is not into her boyfriend, the 40-year-old psychopath. Right. She's not into him. Understandably, but she's still weirdly his girlfriend and only his girlfriend. Maybe she should call the police about that, but that's not the point. The point is that she, like...
No, she seems very comfortable with it.
She does. I don't know what's going on. That's why everyone in this movie is crazy, because I don't know what this girl wants. Because she, like...
Right.
She obviously thinks that, like, Michael is a dork, but not that, like, I get the character's name is Scott. She thinks that Scott is a dork, but she's still, like... Everybody in the school is nice to each other and knows each other, so they still, like, know each other, but he's, like... actively pursuing her, even though she has a boyfriend, and she's like, there are several times where like it's a plot point sometimes, and other times it's not a plot point, where she's like actively like dating Scott while she's dating that other guy, or it's like she just never she never chooses somebody the whole movie, and it's just weird. It's weird. She's weird. That's why she doesn't get the boy at the end. And the girl best friend is also kind of weird. There are times where she just seems, like, super controlling. Like, she is, like, up in Scott's grill, like, all the time. And, like, she's, definitely nicer and definitely not a bitch. But there are some times that I'm uncomfortable with the energy that she's bringing to a situation.
But yeah,
and her right at the beginning, her name is Boof. Like what?
Yeah, it's good. I like that about it. Boof is funny. Her name's Boof.
But what is Boof short for?
I'm sure it's a play on like her last name. It's probably like
Bouffant is like the only name that I can think of.
That's not a name.
But we only call it Bouffant? Is it Bouffant a name? What's Bouffant?
No, it's a hairstyle.
It's a hairstyle? I don't know. Her name's Boof, and I don't understand it.
It's good.
Like a dog? Like Boof? Like the sound a dog makes?
Yeah, because it's Teen Wolf.
Because it's Teen Wolf.
So the characters it sets up in the beginning are the coach, who does not give a fuck, who is my favorite character.
He's pretty
so good. And like every time Michael J. Fox comes up to him like with a problem, he's always just like, yeah, that you should probably quit. You should probably quit because who gives a fuck? And they're always like, that was really bad advice, coach.
Yeah, and he's like, here's what I know. Never play poker with a drunk guy. And they're all like, okay, coach, whatever you say, man.
No,
whatever.
His two other rules for life, which are very good, are never play cards with a person who shares a name with a city, and never go out with women who have a dagger tattooed on them anywhere.
Yeah.
Which I think is just so good.
It's pretty fair. It's probably good advice, but just not applicable. It's not applicable, coach. Pal?
So there's the less hot friend that loves Michael J. Fox, but he doesn't want to get with her. They're childhood friends. There's the hot girl he wants to get with, but is mean.
Yes.
There's the mean girl's boyfriend, who is 100 years old. And there is Michael J. Fox's insane friend who dresses...
Manic.
Yeah, his manic pixie dream boyfriend, who's just like constantly like doing crazy shit and hyperactive as fuck and really good. And he wears these shirts.
He's like, I hate it when people say that all homophobic people are actually just gay, but I think that is true for this character. Because he's got manic theater kid energy, but then he's also the one who says the F slur like 4 times in one scene.
Right. He has this fun little character quirk where he's just like constantly changing his clothes all the time.
Yeah.
Like, whenever they like go to a new location, you can see him like taking off his jacket. And yeah, exactly. He's like constantly like switching out his outfits. Yeah.
But the way that he walks into his first scene... Well, first of all, he walks into his first scene. He just walks into the boys' locker room after the basketball game, so everybody's showering, because it's the 80s. We all agreed as a society that we should stop doing that, but it's the 80s, so they're all showering, and he just walks straight on in, and he's wearing a shirt that says, "Life sucks and then you die," and that's just our whole interaction with him. And he's just like talking to all these other naked teens. Yeah.
And he's good. He's got very chaotic energy.
He does. He's very chaotic.
That's another one of those Twitter phrases that I hate, but sometimes it's apt. He does have chaotic energy.
He does.
And his name is Styles. He's very good. And like,
he's not like other boys.
Right. And so you're going through the movie, he's like talking to people and like interacting with people, and he has all these weird little werewolf things that are happening. He finds like a really long chest hair, and the kid in the hardware store blows a dog whistle and he can hear it. And he's like, oh, what's happening to me? He smacks
this random child in the back of the head because it's the 80s and we don't care yet. But he just... This kid's like blowing the whistle. And to be fair, to everyone else, this child is being very polite. He's not making any sounds, because he bops him on the back of the head and the whistle shoots out of his mouth, and the little kid goes, "It's broken, it doesn't make any sound." And it's like, this poor kid wasn't even doing shit, Scott, and you just slapped him in the back of the head. It's the 80s, so this kid has probably been slapped in the back of the head like 12 times today, but he wasn't even doing anything this time. That kid deserves better.
The major conflict in the first act of this movie is that Stiles really needs to get a keg of beer for a party.
Yeah.
And there's this mean old guy at the liquor store who always IDs him. He never lets it slide. Who is also very good.
Yes.
And one of the best moments of this fucking movie is when they're like, Michael J. Fox, you gotta go in there. No, first of all, Stiles is like, okay, take this water gun. You go in there, put it in your pocket, hold it up to him, stick him up, steal a keg of beer. And Michael J. Fox is like, I'm not gonna do that. Right.
It's really good.
And so, but Michael J. Fox is like, no, I'm just gonna go in there and try to talk to him. And he goes in there, and the guy's like, I'm gonna need to see your ID. And then he, like, grabs this old guy, and his eyes turn red, and he's like, give me a keg of beer.
Somebody in After Effects went in with a red marker and just made his eyes red, and it's really good.
It's so good. And it's funny, they do that a couple of times where his eyes turn red, but when he's a werewolf, his eyes aren't red.
No.
Just saying. CinemaSins.
CinemaSins. It's a bad movie for other reasons. But then they go to the party, and they have a good goof where it's like, oh, Stiles did all this to get this keg of beer, then they walk into the party and there's like 7 kegs of beer, and it's like, oh, haha, you didn't need to do that. But then, like, Stiles is like upset. It's weird. So, like, if this was a regular high school movie, the plot would be like, oh, you guys are the nerds, you're not allowed in unless you have a keg of beer. Like, that would be what the plot point is. Or, like, Style is like, we have to bring a thing of beer because we have to be the cool kids, which is kind of the implied plot, that, like, Stiles wants to be cool and bring beer. But the fact that there's already beer there is kind of just a goof. It's like a throwaway moment. But then when we get to the weird orgy dare scene, whatever that is, Stiles is, like, running the whole thing. So, like, he was already, like, the cool guy who's, like, a part of... Yeah, he was already the cool guy, like, in charge of the party. And, like, everybody is friends and knows each other and is nice to each other. So it's like, why did we even do that?
I don't think he was supposed to be in charge of things. I think he was just at a party. It was like, hey, I know a bunch of sexy, fun games. I could be the ringleader.
But he's always got, like, rubber chickens and stuff in his locker, too, so...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's that great scene, apropos of nothing, where Stiles just goes up to his locker and opens it, and just collapses under the weight of all the bullshit prank nonsense he has in his locker.
Play cards and, like, rubber chickens and all the stuff just pouring out.
Exactly. It's really funny. And... I don't know. And I feel like, I don't know, it's weird to me that you're so off-put by this, like, weird, sexy high school party. Because, like, I know you weren't there, Adeline, but people have parties like that in high school.
No, I know. It just makes me laugh that it's just weird. That you know what? It's because they're not teens. It's because they're all adults that we're pretending are teens. And that just automatically gives it this a new weird layer that I don't like. Like, there's nothing wrong with teens, like, exploring their sexuality in a safe environment. I think that's fine, whatever. But when it's adults pretending to be teens, it just gets weird, and I don't like it as much.
But, so yeah, basically the whole first part of this movie is just, like, little bits. Like, oh, he's turning into a werewolf, but he doesn't know what's going on. It's like, oh, my ears are pointy, oh. And then there's the iconic thing where Stiles gets up on the roof of the van and surfs to the Beach Boys, which is honestly pretty sick. Like that scene a lot.
It's a pretty sick scene. It's fun, yeah. I thought that was a relatable teen moment.
Yeah.
I got that one.
But... I think the best part of this entire movie is, like, Michael J. Fox is in the bathroom. He finally, like, full on turns into a werewolf. He's got, like, hair on his face and everything, and he's, like, freaking out. And his dad is like, son, are you okay in there? And he's like, no, Dad, you wouldn't understand. He's like, I think I understand. You can talk to me about whatever you're going through. And he's like, okay, Dad, well, here we go. And he opens up the door, and his dad's standing there in full werewolf makeup with, like, hair on his face and everything. And
it's like an inch away from the door when it opens.
And it's so perfect because, like, not only is it so funny, but it just, like, instantly explains everything.
You're like, his dad's a werewolf.
You're like, I totally understand this. Yeah.
Because
it totally changes this movie.
Yeah, because before that scene, I was really just like, oh, okay, we're just not gonna explain it. I was like, I guess it's fine that we're not explaining it. I really expected you to, and I guess we're just not. It's fine. But then they just immediately explain it in like a second, and it's like, I get it.
It's like, it's such a smart way to do it. I think it's so cool. And I also love, the opening shot.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No. Fine.
It's fine.
I was just gonna say fuck, dude!
Rock, paper, scissors.
No, just go.
I like the opening shot because it's another one of those moments that just conveys a lot of information in, like, a short amount of time. Where it's just like, hey, here's Michael J. Fox. He plays basketball. He looks really sad. And then this, like, it's just him in the frame. And then, like, suddenly this kid who's, like, 3 feet taller than him, like, walks in front of him in frame. And it, like, totally tells you everything you need to know about this character in this moment. That, like, he's, like, just a regular kid, but he's small and he's trying really hard, but he can't quite keep up with the other kids in just, like, physically. And he's, like, very sweaty and very tired and seems really frustrated. And I think it's really economic storytelling, which I think is cool.
Oh, yeah, totally. No, the whole way that this movie, like, because it's so loosey-goosey, they do kind of have to, like, control it, or else we're just gonna, like, meander around and do nothing. I feel like this movie really does a good job of, like, telling you stuff really quickly. Like, I absolutely adore that scene where he, like, goes to class after finding out, talking to his dad and realizing he's a werewolf. And, like, the word wolf just, like, keeps coming up, and, like, every time it does it, like, echoes in his head, and then he, like, keeps getting interrupted in class. Right. But it's just, like, he's sitting in a chair in one classroom that happens, so he just, like, stares off into space, and you just see his face, and then, like, a teacher, like, snaps him out of it, and he's in a different classroom in the same, like, seat. Like, and they just do that, like, 3 times. And I just think it's such a cool effect where he's totally just, like, out of it in class. Like, he's not paying attention to school. And it's just, like, so well done. It's just such a cool little montage. And then it's the funniest scene in the whole movie where where that happens and he runs to the bathroom to, like, splash water in his face and, like, stop from turning into a werewolf. And the janitor's like, oh, you can't go in there, just mopped in there. So he, like, immediately just turns and books it down the hall. And then the janitor goes, no, I washed the floor over there, too. And you just see him go, like, he just starts, like, slipping all over the floor. And he's, like, still running. And he slips and he runs and he keeps doing this, like, shimmy slidey thing. And it's the funniest thing on the planet. And then you get to a shot.
A single uninterrupted shot of him running away from the camera.
And, like, almost
just
falling
and
down,
sliding
like,
all
4
over
times.
the place. Yeah.
It's so good.
It's so good.
And then you get to a shot where he's supposed to, like, run in and turn around the corner, and you just see him, like, totally slide, like, out of frame, and then get back up, and then come around the corner. It's so funny. It's really good.
And I also, just briefly, there's something so funny to me about that scene where it's like him and his dad are both werewolves, and his dad's like,
and they're just like talking. Is so bad.
Yeah, and they're just like talking, and his dad's like, I totally know what you're going through, and, you know, I can help explain anything you need. And he's like, no, Dad! Like, and, like, storms out and, like, totally blows off his werewolf dad. It's like, there's something so funny to that. Like, literally, the only person on planet Earth who would understand. And he's just like, you don't understand. Yeah. It's so, there's something so perfect about it.
They're just the werewolf makeup. It's like, it's the 80s, I get it, but it's bad. It's like, it looks like it's from the 50s. It's, like, bad, but I love it. Because, like, it's a weird thing where, like, Michael J. Fox, like, won't commit to, like, being a werewolf. Like, he doesn't act all that different when he's, like, in werewolf makeup. And then sometimes he really does act different when he's in werewolf makeup. But, like, sometimes he's, like grunting, and other times he's just like, hey, I'm Michael J. Fox. Like, it really does, like, switch around a lot. That's what Michael J. Fox sounds like, if you didn't know, also. But, like, I know, I do love that. Like, obviously, it's a metaphor for puberty because it's a high school story and we can't talk about anything else, but it's just, like, that funny thing where he's like, no, Dad, you don't know what you're talking about. And Dad's like, no, I was a werewolf when I was a kid also. Like, I also... The thing, I did that. I also grew hair in weird places and sweat, son. I know.
It's like, I'm maybe the only, as far as we know, the only person who knows what you're going through.
So Jackson, here's the scenario. You're older, you've had a child, you love them, and they're a teen now.
Of course.
And then one day they're like super mad and they like punch a wall and they're like sweaty and they like have acne and hair everywhere. And you're like, it's okay, son, I know what you're going through. And then they look at you with hate and anger in their eyes and they go, no, you don't. You don't know what it feels like. And then they storm out of the room. That's what this is like. What do you do?
What do I do? I would probably show them pictures. I would probably show them pictures of me from middle school in that phase where I had a clip-on bow tie that I would wear on my t-shirts every day at school.
that would fix it.
Because I was really into Doctor Who, and I thought it was funny because bow ties are cool. So I had this little clip-on bow tie that I would clip onto my I didn't wear a fez, but I had a little clip-on red bow tie that I wore to school every day. And let me tell you, it's not a good look.
I could absolutely annihilate one of my friends right now, but I'm not going to because it would be so rude.
Okay.
Just
and then,
know that I've got a nuclear bomb and I'm not going to drop it.
Anna and I were watching this movie last night, and the point where we just started to lose our minds at this movie was that, like, the next scene is like he's playing basketball. They suck because their team has sucked this whole movie. And he's getting really mad, and finally he just can't control it anymore, and he turns into a full werewolf, like, in front of everybody. And, you know, the whole movie he's been, like, trying to keep it a secret, and everyone, like, stares at him for so long. And then he just kind of starts dribbling the ball again, and playing basketball. Everyone's staring at him, and he just kind of walks up to the hoop, and like throws it in and gets a point, and people kind of start to play with him again, and like just really slowly everybody just gets really into it, and they're like, hell yeah, Wolf Kid. Like, it's so good. It's a perfect subversion of your expectations, and it's so
You're like,
funny.
Oh, they're gonna ostracize him, and there's like one moment where he's like kind of turns, it's like, the makeup is very Harry and the Hendersons, actually, now that I think about it, but where he dribbles the ball, and he's kind of like at the side, he kind of just like looks around at everybody, and then like starts moving. It's so good. It's played so well.
Hilarious.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
I do love a moment right before he turns into a wolf where like he manages to like get like one basket in, and you just see like his like 6 friends in the audience just like start to like freak out and like stand up and like throw papers everywhere, and then they just like kind of like stop and also back down, and it's really good.
Right.
It's just because everybody's nice and supportive in this movie. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. And well, because that's the thing, is like after that point the movie basically turns into like Edward Scissorhands, right?
Yeah.
It's like all about people sort of wanting to take advantage of him because he's this wolf guy, and like, you know, liking him in this sort of like, oh, you're so interesting because you're different. Yeah. And like, it's this thing where he has to kind of slowly learn that like people aren't actually that interested in him as a person. They just think it's cool that he's a wolf. And the rest of the movie is about him like sort of learning, like gaining the self-respect to like say no and be like, I'm only going to be a wolf when I want to be a wolf, and I don't care about what everybody else wants me to do.
Yeah. It's like genuinely a really nice moral. Especially for teens. Is that some people aren't
There's
your
also
friends. You gotta stick with your real friends.
My other favorite line in this movie is Michael J. Fox is fully a werewolf. And he's like, he's so cool. Everybody loves that he's a werewolf. Everybody on campus loves him. He's the most popular kid in school. And the mean vice principal stops Michael J. Fox. Hair all over his face, arms, legs, full wolf man. He's like, hey, you may think that you're hot stuff around here, but I'm still the vice principal. And there's something about that fucking kills me. I think it's so funny.
It's just like, he's a werewolf, dude. He's wolf, like, You're nothing special. And it's like, he's a werewolf.
You may be a werewolf. I'm the vice principal.
I still have a
idiot. Yeah, it's so good.
Oh, and I love, there's a really, really weird subplot that, like, ties in with mean bitch love interest girl, where it's like she's in the play, and Scott likes her, so he wants to be in the play. And another weird pervert is the theater teacher.
Right.
Who is maybe implied to be sleeping with her. Or maybe he's just a creep. I don't know what the hell is up with that guy. He keeps telling her...
I think he's just a weirdo.
He's just, like, telling her to perform her lines, like, more sensually and more, like... Is weird, but, like...
He's just a weirdo.
That whole subplot is just weird. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
Because they're doing a play...
They're doing Gone with the Wind.
They're doing Gone with the Wind, which I don't think is a play, is it?
I don't know.
I don't think
regardless of whether it is Gone with the Wind, it's like a Gone with the Wind kind of thing. And they have like Michael J. Fox come on.
Yeah, no, but what's weird about it is that, so she's like the Southern Belle, like defending her plantation, and then he's like, I don't know, a Union soldier or something who like comes in with a sword, but like, there's only 2 people in this play. There are no other human beings in any of these scenes. It is only the teacher, the girl, and Scott. There are no kids.
Because he's only in the one scene. They're only rehearsing the one scene.
No. We are in this space like 3 times. There is never another human being in the theater other than the teacher, the girl, and him. There are no other teachers. There are no other children. There's no one behind the scenes. There's no one in the dressing rooms. It's like we've gone to this weird pocket dimension where only these 3 people exist in the middle of the school day. And it really takes me out of it, and I don't know why. There are so few people that they can just go have sex in the dressing room and 0 people notice. Like, it's really weird.
But, okay, look, the way play rehearsals work, you don't have everybody there at the same time. You only have the people that need to be there. We go there several
different times over several
Yes, why would it be different on different days? It's the same scene every time.
There is not another human soul in the whole building, though. There would be,
I think this is a weird criticism. I don't think it matters.
I'm just saying if I noticed it, I thought it was weird. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
And she could go have sex with Michael J. Fox as a wolf because there are other kids, presumably, up on stage doing different things.
We're not shown that because we're in a pocket dimension where only these 3 people exist. I'm not saying it's a bad movie because of it. I'm just noticing it and it's weird. It's weird, Jackson. Fuck up.
It's not weird. It's not weird.
In High School Musical, when we're doing the same thing, basically, there's always, like, even at fucking Lewis and Clark, there was like fucking multiple people in the audience. There was always at least 3 people who were like either like teachers or staff, like hanging around. Like there's no universe where just these 3 people. This wasn't supposed to be a big deal. This was just something little that I noticed that I thought was funny and weird, and it turned into a huge thing for no reason.
How many days were you on set for times when it was like just a solo number being performed by one person?
When I worked,
that was not like a tech rehearsal.
Yeah, when I was on fucking Music Man and I was on fucking props, we were there a lot because we had to get a lot of props because we were doing this thing where we had black and white versions of all the props and then in color versions of all the props. So we had a lot of fucking props that we had to make. So we were basically there every day, and we were running around behind stage and talking to our teacher, and like send stuff up on stage and like giving them the actors for them to act with. So we were there a lot, even when they were just doing solo shit. Jackson, McMurray. Have you ever been in a room in school where there was literally only 3 people in there? In a theater that doesn't.
Yes,
is not a
plenty
thing.
of times.
But they're always working on shit. There's always backstage kids working on shit because it's a high school shitty production.
Okay, look. There's only
we
backstage
see
kids working on stuff.
There's no people there because he runs in with the delivery. Jackson, this is so stupid.
The kid, Adeline, in what you're describing is Michael J. Fox being the other people. He's the guy coming in and doing stuff.
No, there are no other people. This is a full play. We only ever see one line of the play. We're there for multiple scenes, at least 3. We only ever see one line of the play, and we use it for, like, plot purposes. Then there's nobody else around. Nobody else has lines. I'm just saying any other movie would have handled this subplot as, like, an actual subplot of the movie where we would, like, actually see the play and, like, have it build up to something. But that's not what we do. We just use it as this kind of, like, showing his, like, evolution of being comfort with the wolf, which is fine. But I'm saying is they don't fully treat it as a subplot, and and I just noticed it and thought it was weird. They used it differently than I thought they were going to. But the way that they do use it is that there's only 3 people who exist in this sub-pocket dimension of the theater. She even fucking... No, shut up. She even fucking says that in the theater world, we're all a family, but we never see another fucking person who does theater. It is only her. At the auditions, she is the only person there.
Thor Ragnarok.
What?
Okay. I don't want this conversation to be about what is literally true of the theater. My point is, there doesn't need to be other kids around. You don't need to see more of the play. Who gives a fuck?
I said I noticed it, and it was weird. That's all I said. Why are there no other people in the auditions, Jackson? Why?
Because they're behind the curtains.
No, they're not, because we see them come in the back door of the stage where other people would be standing, and he is the only goddamn person there. Only these 3 people can enter into this pocket dimension.
Auditions are private. You don't usually do one-on-one stuff in front of everybody. I like when they go to the dance at the end.
There's nobody.
I don't give a fuck! I don't!
You so clearly do! Because you had to fight me about it!
I mean, I don't give a fuck that there's no people. I don't think it's a problem. I when they're at the dance at the end.
I think it's weird. I think a normal
I like when they're at the dance at the end and there's a weird song that plays that's like, you don't look like a grandma. I thought that was very funny and weird because I didn't get that it was about Little Red Riding Hood at first. You know what I'm talking about?
Where are your brain cells? Where did they go?
It's just this song. It's just like, you sure don't look like no grandma. And I'm like, what is this song? Your hair's not.
I've got a thing for grandmas.
Yeah, literally, and
it's like
eventually,
Stacy's mom, but it's Stacy's grandma.
Grandma. Yeah. Eventually, there's a line that's like, "And you got such big teeth," and I was like, "Oh, it's like Little Red Riding Hood." Now I understand. But the first 2 verses are just like, "You don't look like a grandma. You don't have white hair." And you can hear me pretty well. You're definitely not a grandma. And I'm like, what is this song? Like, what?
I'm a big man. I got lots of hair. You don't look like a grandma. And it's like 80s, like techno music behind it. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
What are we doing?
What is this? And then I figured it out. Oh, it's like Little Red Riding Hood.
You know when Michael J. Fox starts doing this dance, it's like the Thriller but not, where he like does a little jig and then like both his hands come up, or like both his hands come up and then it goes down and does a little jig some more. But then everybody in the whole school starts doing it as the psychotic 40-year-old boyfriend looks on, and it's really good. My friends and me in the middle.
I mean, those are all the notes that I have about like specific things I wanted to bring up. It's just that like,
so I need a thing of clarification. So they go bowling. He's a wolf man. It's one of those weird scenes where the girl hasn't committed to dating either of the fellas, and it's just whatever. It's kind of a plot point in the next scene, and this is like establishing that plot point. But like, because she's like fully on a date with Scott, while that other guy
it's really good.
is there, and he's like, but while he's there, he's like, don't put your hands on my girl. So
Yeah. It's weird.
So it's weird.
He's like on the other side of the bowling alley. He's like, hey, get your hands off my girl.
They're like on a date. He's like that. But
yeah.
But then he
and
has
I love
this
that, like,
line.
after that is when the girl is like, oh, you're not my boyfriend. I have a boyfriend. It's like, I wanted to get fucked by a werewolf, and I wanted somebody to teach me how to bowl. Like, you have served your purpose. Like,
yeah.
We're done now.
Yeah, and now we're done. But, like, the psychotic 40-year-old boyfriend makes a comment where he's like, I've dealt with werewolves before. Remember when I shot your mom? And it was like, and I don't know...
I think he was just saying, I think he was saying, like, oh, I deal with wolves all the time, talking about real wolves. One time, one got into my chicken shed and I killed it. That was probably your mom, right? Because he's, like, being racist to him about how he's a werewolf. Because, like, I don't think he literally meant, I shot your mom. Yeah.
Well, but the reason that I thought he was like, yo, what's up? We're in a bowling alley surrounded by 100 other people. I shot your mom. The reason why I thought that's what was going on was because that's how the movie is just giving you information like that. We're just like straight up like, here's what we're doing. So when he made that joke, I was like, oh, is this what we're doing now? And it's like, you gotta be careful, movie, because if you just say things, I'm just gonna believe you. Because that's how the conversation has gone in the past, where you've just told me something and I've agreed with you.
Right. There's also the good little subplot where it's like the mean vice principal doesn't like him because Michael J. Fox's dad scared the vice principal when he was a kid so bad that he pissed his pants like a little piss baby. And he's still angry about it. And then...
He's like Severus
later, yeah. And then like later, like 40 years later, he's still mad about it. And so he's mean to Michael J. Fox. But then later at the dance, his dad comes back and makes him piss his pants again.
Yeah, just, you know... closure, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Why is the dad even there? He is solely there to make the vice principal pee his pants. That's the only reason why he's there. And it's just, and there's a really good
what happens
subplot.
At the end?
There's a I really like the game, but there's another little subplot that, like, there's, like, this freshman kid that they hang out with. And, like, when he turns into a wolf, the little freshman kid is, like, afraid of him. And it's, like, a lot of, like, pathos. And, like, when he gets in the fight at the dance with the psychotic guy, and he, like, looks at the freshman's face, and that's when he kind of decides that he, like, needs to get out, and he needs to stop being the wolf because this kid is scared of him. And it's, like, really good, and it's got a lot of pathos.
Yeah.
But I wish... This movie's weird. Because it's so loosey-goosey, I feel like we only really focus on the main story. And then we don't have time to really, like, flesh out these subplots a whole lot. And, like, the way that they're introduced, they're used pretty well. I just think it's interesting that, like, this movie doesn't really have a lot of side plots, even though it is introducing, like, other ideas. Like, it's still just, like, focuses on the main plot,
it's a fairly focused movie.
Yeah, which is weird. Which is weird for this movie.
I also love later, because the first time they surf on the car, it's just Styles doing it. But then the second time, Michael J. Fox is a werewolf. He's like, no, these waves are mine. And then he's surfing on the car this time.
Yeah, but he's like doing he does like 6 backflips in a row at one point.
But honestly, it's not as fun when it's not nighttime. If I'm being honest. I like it better when it's nighttime. The second time they do it, it's not as cool.
It's not as fun when he's not wearing a Hawaiian shirt, I gotta say.
Yeah, man. And like there's this great shot where he's like standing on his hands and he's doing like a handstand, and then there's the shot of the van coming around the corner, and it's so clearly a fucking like mannequin that they've just like nailed the hands to the top of a van. It's so funny.
It's really good.
But yeah, so I feel like that's the largest cultural footprint of this movie, probably, is the like surfing on top of a car, right? Like people talk about that as like the Teen Wolf thing. And it's just weird because, like, it is a cool, memorable thing, but I feel like there are more memorable things in this movie than that. I don't know.
Yeah, like Michael J. Fox sliding down the hallway. It's the funniest thing on the planet. But
I genuinely think the scene where he turns into a werewolf in front of the entire basketball team is so goddamn perfect. I think it's really so funny.
I looked for the penis at the end of this movie, and I couldn't find it. I'm not sure where it is.
Oh, that's right. Because is that like an urban legend thing?
Game. No, it's a thing. I've like seen like a picture of somebody proving it before, but it's a thing where like one of the extras in the final basketball game in one of the shots just has his penis out, and you can see it.
I'm watching a YouTube video called Teen Wolf Penis Bomb. Hold on.
That's the name of my band. It's like Sex Bomb, but different.
Is he gonna like point it out? Oh, okay. Hold on, I'll show you and the chat.
Are you gonna put a penis in the live stream?
It's fucking so small. Not the penis, like just in the frame.
Boom! Get roasted, guy from the 80s. Your dick is small.
1 sec. This is the guy.
Oh, he doesn't like fully have his dick out. That's disappointing.
I think he's his fly is just down.
Yeah, I think he just forgot to zip up his pants. It must have been like he was like an extra and they like handed him his clothes really quickly and they were like, go get changed and you need to be on set like now. So like then
right.
He just like threw clothes on and like just didn't have time to zip his pants or something. That's not as
right.
It's not as funny as I wanted it to be. I'm disappointed.
I mean, I don't know. That was a very low resolution video. Maybe if I really looked at that HD 4K version, I'd be like, oh yeah.
That's a penis. Now that's what I call penis.
Penis.
But like genuinely,
is this the content you guys like on stream?
It's like this was disappointing. This is like when people are like, there's one of the Munchkins in Wizard of Oz hangs himself in the background, and then you watch the clip and it's one of the fucking cranes that's just in the background of that scene, like stretching and flapping its wings. That's the stupidest urban legend on the planet. Can I just say? It's just wrong, and you can very easily prove that it's wrong by watching the film. It's so stupid.
So the end of this movie, I mean, basically he finally makes the decision that he doesn't want people to keep taking advantage of him for his hairy wolf dong and for his merchandising rights and for his athletic ability because he's the wolf. Everybody just likes the wolf. So he's like, I'm giving up the wolf. I'm just going to be a regular kid. And then he plays the big game only as a human. And he wins the big game just barely. And for some reason, the 100-year-old boyfriend is on the other team because I guess he goes to a different school.
Yeah, he's on the other high school basketball team.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that.
Which doesn't make any... They're on the same team at the beginning of the movie. And I guess that he's just so pissed and wants to punch Michael J. Fox so bad that he changes schools, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He transfers to another school.
Yeah, I guess. Because he's a psychopath and he wants to kill him. But the only way that he knows how to fight is through basketball. That's the only way he expresses his emotions is through basketball.
So,
but Jackson,
so
it's
he wins
important.
The big game.
He doesn't win it by himself. He wins it with his friends on the basketball team, and they all come together.
Teamwork.
As a basketball family to win, and the coach like actually gives a shit, and it's like, oh, this is his family. They did it together.
Right. It's weird. I feel like with movies like this where there are a lot of and I feel like in movies like this where there are a lot of stakes attached to like a big game or something, there's always I was just thinking about it because I've been watching a lot of, I mean, I don't know, I'll give away my project on stream a little bit, but I've been watching a lot of, like, direct-to-streaming movies, and I'm just thinking a lot about, like, if you're making, like, a small movie that doesn't get a lot of attention, like, and you want to set yourself apart, one of the best ways to do that is to try to sort of subvert expectations. That's a good way to, like, get some word of mouth going about your movie. And, like, I'm just thinking about that as an idea. And, like, when you have a competition, basically, I don't know, I couldn't think of any good way to subvert expectations with that. Because there's only two things you can really do, right? They win.
Yeah.
Or they lose, but they learn an important lesson. And it's like, both of those have been done to death, and both of those are pretty satisfying to watch, you know? It's I mean, yeah. Because Anna and I were talking during that last scene, we were like, okay, so do you think they're going to win, or do you think they're going to lose but learn an important lesson about friendship?
Yeah.
And we both thought that they were going to learn an important lesson about friendship, but they won. They won in this one, which is like, I don't know, I guess we didn't see it coming, but we did. I don't know. It's a weird narrative phenomenon that I've been thinking about a lot. Like, if I were writing something like that, like, what would I do? Like, is there a third option I could come up with?
Yeah.
Besides, like,
I mean, the third option is
there's a terrorist and their
we have to stop playing basketball. The third option is we don't play basketball. That's the third option.
Right, yeah.
It's like, yeah. I really enjoyed this scene because I feel like a lot of the time when a lot of pressure is put on a specific basketball game or any sports game, there's like the type that I've seen the most of is like, we have to win this game in order to prove a point about racism is a very popular one, whether we're playing football or basketball or whatever. Like, it's like, we gotta do this for for black people. And it's like, okay, but like, that's very important, but also this is like one of those like documentary uplifting movies, so like I know we're gonna win and also learn an important lesson about racism.
Right.
But like the second version is like, I don't know, like, it's not just like personal stakes. It's not just like, it's always like way like beyond that. Like the High School Musical like basketball game, like it's more than personal stakes. It's like, we have to win, or else the school's gonna get defunded or something like that.
Right.
Which would never happen because it's a sport and sports never get defunded. But like, what I really liked about this one is that it was just like personal stakes. Like I was like, oh right, so like what happens if they lose? And it's like, well, it's sad if they lose, but we don't lose anything if they lose. Like, they still had this awesome moment of coming together and, like, learning a lesson that, like, we don't need the wolf man. And, like, we don't need the wolf man, we just need the man. Like, that, it's like, we've already had the important lesson that's basically just by playing the game. And I really like that, because you want them to win because you feel they deserved it, because they've already won the lesson. Like, the lesson doesn't come from winning or losing. We've already learned the lesson. Like, the winning the game does not determine the stakes. The stakes have already basically been met by the fact that we're playing the game at all, you know?
Right. If I were writing it, I think I would have had them lose, but, like, just barely. Because I feel like... Because the way that this movie functions is like, oh, I'm cool just being me, and I prove it by winning the basketball game. Yeah. And I feel like what I would rather do would be like, I'm definitely, objectively, not as cool as the wolf guy. Bad at
basketball, yeah.
Right. And it's like, if I could, like, really pull it out and, like, do a good job in the game, that would still be a personal victory even if we didn't win, per se. Because, like... My worth as a person shouldn't be tied to whether or not I can win the basketball game, you know? And we all learned a lesson about how Michael J. Fox can just be Michael J. Fox, even if he's not good at breakdancing and bowling and basketball and sex.
And, like, your real friends are gonna like you no matter what. Like, even if we we did, like, a parallel to that first game where his friends are the only one that cheers, I think a cool version would be... Like, there's the other version of a basketball story where they lose, but the losing team celebrates way more than the winning team does, you know? That's a scene and everybody cries. But I think I would enjoy a scene where the school is kind of like, fuck, we lost, I'm upset. But then all of his, like, close actual friends are still, like, screaming and shouting like they won in the basketball team, and all his real friends are the ones who are still super happy for him because... They like Scott, and Scott did something cool. Even if they didn't win, even if he's not the wolf man, like, they're still totally happy. I think that would have been a fun way to do it, too.
Right. So, I mean, I feel like we're at the end. I think we can start wrapping up. I think it's a really fun movie. My phone is also on a low
battery. It's a very fun movie.
It's nice and short, and it's really funny a lot of the time. And I think, and I made a note that, like,
and they only dropped the F slur, I think, 3 times, but just in one little scene, where just they're also looking for weed, but
Yeah. But, like, I made a note that, like, I think the dialogue is really creative in this movie. Like, the things that people, like, say to each other is, like, totally, like, the way people talk is, like, totally different than, like, you're used to seeing in this kind of movie. And I should have written down a specific example, but there's just lots of, like, really fun, interesting lines that get thrown around that feel, like, fresh and unique, like, even now, you know? And I should have fucking written some down, but I didn't.
I think a lot of it was probably Styles' dialogue, just because he's a very fun character to write dialogue for, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So, Adeline, would you like to hear a 5-star review of Teen Wolf?
I would.
So, this is a 5-star review. 10 out of 10. The best possible score.
Amazing. Fantastic.
Warning. Do not surf on moving vehicles. Someone in my neighborhood tried it once. Having wiped out in the process, he ended up a vegetable after sustaining severe brain damage. Besides that downer anecdote, this movie is so much fun.
Oh. This person not only, like, don't call people vegetables, first of all. Wildly insulting. We know not to do that. Also,
my name's Jackson McMurray.
I love it. It's my favorite movie. My name is Adeline McMurray.
And this is No Nerds Allowed.
And there are no nerds allowed. Like, you can't... He's split his brain, where half of him is wildly concerned. He's doing a double thing, where half of himself is wildly concerned about the well-being of teens, and the other half of his brain is like, it's a funny movie, though. I like it.